Hello friends, Cheryl here with Inked Pulp, and I'm back with another video. We're going to make over a box today. This is one that I already did, so I thought I would share it. I haven't finished the inside of it, but I have done the outside. This is an HP instant ink box. I have so many of these because every time they send me new ink, of course I get them. And I've just been saving them because I figured that someday I would find a use for them. And so here's the inside. I haven't finished this yet. I haven't, done all the covering yet, but, and I've just got my fabric scraps in here. But on this particular box, the method I used for covering was that I made sure I wrapped over all the corners, like you see here. I am not going to do that this time. I'm going to do it a little bit differently because this way takes a long time. It's very cumbersome. Oh, the other thing I want to point out is their boxes used to have rounded, and it's very cumbersome to fold over round edges. The boxes now they don't have a round edge that pokes in. Everything is fairly square, so that makes it a lot easier to work with. But you'll notice that on the original box, there's no window in it, so you can't really see what's inside. You have to open it up or have marked it some way. So what I'm going to do is put a window in my box, and then I'm going to cover it so I have a storage box. I mean, we're always looking for more storage, right? So this is what we're going for, sort of. This is what we're starting with. And what I like to do is take it all apart, lay it out flat, and the first thing I do is I go through, some of these, like where these flaps fold down, for example. Well, the inside of this doesn't need to be covered because it's going to be in here. So I have put X's on all the parts that don't need to be covered. Okay, so this is going to go like this. These are going to go in like this. And so these flaps here, front and back, and the insides here, and then these flaps here and on the back side, they don't need to be covered. So that's the first thing that I do. And whatever box you're going to use to cover, it's nice to go and, figure that out so you don't waste time covering surfaces that you don't need to cover. The next thing that I'm going to do, so on this box, rather than putting the paper and wrapping it all the way around, it makes it sturdier, but it also takes a lot of time. So what I am going to do is go around. What I'm going to do is put little panels on here. And so I'm going to go around and ink up, and this is archival ink and vintage photo. So you can get vintage photo in the archival ink, and I love that. So when I put the panel down, and I will tear those edges, you'll have a nice... Now, this is a little bit wonky. I'll probably cut that off, or what I'll do with that is, because that is the lid that goes in and out, when I put my panel on there, I will cover it with washi tape. So I'm going to go around, and all of the edges, whether they're folds or not, so when I put that panel down, you'll have, a nice border on it. And so I'm going to go around and do that on all of my edges. It will take me a minute to get it done, so I'm going to go ahead and pause. You guys see what I'm doing, and I'm going to do that inside and out. And then I'll come back, and the next thing we'll do is cut the hole in the top and then cover it so it makes a window. All right, so there we go. This is what I'm doing all the way around, and I'm going in a ways so that if my paper ends out here, I will still have some ink coverage. And the reason I'm using, instead of using distress or water-based inks, the reason I'm using this archival ink is because when we put glue on and things like that, I find that with the distress inks, as you're rubbing them and moving them around, that those inks will rub off if they're water-based. So I'm using this archival ink, and like I said, you can get them in these little packs. This one is Vintage Photo. So it's permanent and waterproof. All right, let me put you on pause. I will go mark up all of these edges, and we'll be back. All right, I'm back, and we are all inked up around all the edges that need it, and we're ready to start putting paper down. But before we do that, at the top of the box, I want to cut a hole. Hang on, let me find I need my metal ruler so I can cut. And what I'm going to do is go in 1 inch from all of the sides. So I'm going to go 1 inch here, 1 inch here, and then we'll go down 1 inch. And then I'll just draw some lines to follow when I cut this out. And I'm just going to cut a little window in the top of this box. Because I don't know about you, but it frustrates me when I can't see what's in a box with that, like cigar boxes. I have some cigar boxes that I know, like all my charms are in a white cigar box, and I know that box. So I can, go to it and pretty much know what's in it. But when you have all these little boxes like this, and you don't know what's in them, it's just very frustrating when you're looking for something and you have to open each one, or you have to have some kind of label on it. And I don't know. I just find it a little frustrating. So let's go here and here. All right. So here we go. Now I could have just cut as I was going, but I want to have the line so that I can make sure I'm staying on track. And what I'm going to do is just take my craft knife, go through and make sure I've cut through that real well. And we'll just go all around. Oops, I went a little too far. That's okay. It's going to be covered with paper, so it won't matter. But pay attention to your lines and just cut right to where the lines intersect. This is a really sharp knife, thank goodness. Let's go this way. Finding the best angle to work with your box can sometimes be tricky, or whatever you're working on. Okay, then we're just going to pop that out. Okay. I've got just a little bit of extra left over here in the corner. There. And then I have this piece. I could make a little tag out of that. I can do whatever I want. Okay, but here is the top. Now, we can't just leave the top open like that. We need to put something over it. And so I've got this cello bag, and it's 2 layers. So I'm just going to cut it open because I only need one little piece of this. You can use packaging material. You can use anything that's clear, basically. And now I have this one piece left, and it fits on there just fine. In fact, it might be a little too tall here. I'm going to cut it down a little bit. And if it's not exactly straight, we're going to cover it with paper anyway. So, all right. So the first thing I'm going to do is go around. Now, you could do this with double-sided tape, works really well. I'm using art glitter glue. Now, I didn't ink up around that edge, but that's okay. We can work around that. But yeah, I would either use art glitter glue or double-sided tape. I would not use like a glue stick for this piece. I'm not sure that glue stick would hold well enough. Okay. And then we will take just a little bit of a, okay. Just in the corners here, I had a little glue bleed over. That will dry clear, but I want to get out what I can. All right. So now we're going to let that dry. I probably should have inked around this outside before or no. Uh-oh. Did I do this wrong? I did this wrong. I put that on wrong. And rather than try to glue it again, I am going to use some double-sided tape. I put that on the outside. You see, guys, I make mistakes too. The folks who do videos on YouTube, we are not immune to making mistakes. You want this on the inside. So let's just use some double-sided. Oh, since I had to take that off, I can also now, let me get a baby wipe. I can go around and ink it since I didn't do that the first time. All right, let's just take that. Let's take that glue off of there. Okay. And let's find my little ink pad. And since this is open again, I'll go in and it's still a little bit wet, but I can still ink it up. Because this is permanent ink, if this were the distress ink, I might not have been able to do this because the water would have disrupted the flow of the ink. All right. All right. And Now, what you can cover this box with, you can use paper, which is mostly what I'm going to use. You can use fabric. You can use anything. All right, so my box is going to go like this. So this is the inside. Let's start that over again. And I'm not going to cut that out because I'm not going to edit that out. Well, one, I don't edit my videos. Two, I want you guys to see that it's possible to recover from a mistake. And, you shouldn't worry so much about making mistakes, because if I really screwed this all up, unless I were making something with like an heirloom from somebody's, past, it's just paper. It's just a box. It's nothing that can't be replaced. I've got a million of these boxes hanging around. I'm getting this tape right up to the edge. So yeah, you shouldn't worry about, doing something wrong. Pretty much anything you do can be fixed. Or if you can't reverse it, you can build it into the design of the piece. All right. Now, I don't have it right up to the edge over here, so what I'm going to do is pull this back a little bit, and I'm going to put another piece on there so that I have edge to edge coverage. There we go. All right. Let's put this tape away. Let's pull this off. Pull all these little strips off. And then we'll put the top down. The window. Put the window pane on. Now, if you want to be extra sure, you could add some glue on top of this tape, but I'm not going to be giving this box such a workout that it needs all that. I'm going to try to line it up here with where I had the glue before. And I want to pull it as tight as I can so it's not wrinkly. And there we go. There's our top. And it's a little bit dirty, so we'll just get some water. Probably picked up something from my desk. Clean that top out. And there we go. All right, now it's time to just start cutting pieces. And I have a whole bag of scraps here. I've got big scraps. I've got medium scraps. That's not quite wide enough. There we go. And so what I'm going to do, because I do want torn edges on these pieces, what I'm going to do is mark, well, first of all, I'm going to tear this edge so that I have a torn edge. Let's put the top back on that art glitter glue. And I think you guys can see what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to go around and put on pieces of paper on each of these panels, inside and out. I'll do a few online to show you, and then I'll probably pause again. And so try to get it as straight as possible. You're not going to get it perfectly straight, but as straight as possible. And so I have that piece. I have that piece. And it doesn't have to go right up to the bend because we put that ink on there and we don't want to bind it up. You could measure all this and do it very precisely. Any of you who know me know that I'm not that kind of gal. So I'm just going to go through. There we go. Now, my question here is whether to ink the pieces or not. And I'm leaning on not because I have the edges of the box all inked up. Let's see what it looks like when I put it down. Now, see, I didn't make that. That one's not straight, so let's see if we can straighten that up a little bit. Let's see if we can straighten it up a hair. And if not, you know, it's not the end of the world. There, that's better. All right, so we have kind of some white showing through there. I don't know, should I? Maybe I should. Maybe I should, because I do have some white showing. And it's only going to take a minute to do each piece. All right. Then I'm going to take my glue stick and a glue book. I am going to put this down with glue stick because I think it will, you know, this isn't going to get heavy use. I will store something in it, and that will be that. All right, there we go. There's the first piece. Okay, I'm going to not do this one right now because you know, I want to come back later and do this and show you how I do this. So I'm just going to go around and everywhere that I need to put a piece. Now, this one has a bend in it. So when you know, fold it in, I probably will put a piece all the way around this one so that it bends over. But let's do one of those real quick. And if you can get kind of flimsy paper that's not real heavy, you know, the real heavy scrapbook paper it's okay, but it's easier. And I'm just going to grab different pieces of paper. I don't need it to be all the same paper. In fact, I want it to be different. If you look at my original box I did, you'll see I've got some stuff here, and then I've got some map, and then I've got some polka dots and some wood grain. So I'm not dead set on making sure everything matches exactly. Now I will try to maybe make the two ends the same. All right, let's do the same thing here. Even though I cleaned off my space, I never have enough room to work. Are you guys like that? Just never quite enough room. All right, so I want that there. And I want it to go right about there. And these little tiny pieces I will throw away. I'm into keeping scraps, but some scraps are just too tiny to keep. All right, let's... Okay, how did I get that? how did I do that? All right, let's put this on here. Oh, you know what I did? I measured it this way. And then that would put the writing sideways. And while I don't care about a lot of it, I do want some consistency. So I'll find another piece for that. All right, and again, there are no mistakes that can't be corrected. Okay, we have that piece is cut. So, we just want to take a little tiny bit off here. And then a little tiny bit off here. So yeah, this is going to have all different kinds of paper. It's going to have... Now, what I'm doing to help me line this up is I'm putting this paper along this line here, kind of so I know it's straight. And then I'm putting my little mark on one of these vertical lines. And I'm just making sure it stays on that same vertical line all the way up. And that will help me make sure that I tear it straight. Without having to measure. I just mark where I want the tear to be. Get it on that line. Hold it down real good. There we go. And that's going to go on there. And it's not perfectly straight, but it's good enough. All right, let's do this. We'll do one more after this. And you have to do both sides because you want to have something on the inside as well. And if you wanted to just like collage book pages on the inside, that would be great too. And just leave all your, nice pattern on the outside. That works. In fact, I may do that. Just put book page or music page or dictionary, whatever you like. All right, here we go. There we go. There, now we've got two. I've got a flap that goes in here, and then I've got the back. Okay, need to do the bottom. Don't need to do that because it's got an X on it, but let's do one of these so we can look at it going over the side. How about this? Okay, let's tear that first edge off. Okay, down here on the line. Okay, there we go. And then I want it to go here, but first, well, we'll do this first. I got to tear off the sides. So, you can choose not to do your corners or do your edges, tear your edges. You can choose just to make them straight. That works too. You can go back and put washi tape around each of the okay. Let's go here. Okay, now see, I almost did that again. I almost did it again. Cut it too short. So what I can tell you is pay attention to which way you're going and, really look at. Now this paper, it's not really directional, but, and I don't think you'll even notice, but that's going to go like that. So I'll get this piece on and then I'll get the rest of the front done. Oh, and I'll show you what I'm going to do on these before I put us on pause. But yeah, we're just going to go around and cover this box, and then I will have a nice ephemera box. It's got a nice closure on it too. They did a nice job on these HP Instant Ink boxes. Well, because they ship them, so they've got to be sturdy enough to hold up in shipping. And I think that's what makes them a really good box for this type of thing. And if I haven't mentioned it before, I love these big glue sticks. This is by Doris, and I'm noticing more and more people using them. I love the big size. You cover so much more area, and they do stick really well. I've been really pleased with their adherence. Okay. And again, I'm just sort of lining it up just inside those inked up edges. And I wish I could find, I have a, well, oh, there it is. All right. And then when we fold that over, it's going to then go over the top. So that's going to go like that. So it'll be that way there and on the inside. Okay. All right. Now I'm not going to do it, but I'll show you what I'm going to do on the edges. I have these little strips here, and I'm pretty sure that I can find, yep, that one might even be a little wide. I could tear it, well, it doesn't have the torn edges, so, I could tear it down a little. But I'm just going to take some of these strips, and I may leave the edges straight on this because it's so narrow. So there we go. There's one. And I can go all the way up to the edge of the window on this one. So I may just leave that and just tear the ends off, but I'm just going to find a strip that fits and glue it down. And I'll just keep going through my strips till I find, there, that one fits there. And then I'll get one that goes, over each side. So like that. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do on those. All right. I am going to pause the video, and I will be back when I've got all the outside covered. All right, friends, I have finished the outside of the box, and here it is. So I've got all the panels covered with different papers. I did use the same blue on each end. So there's the box with its lid. Oh, that lid isn't exactly straight going across here, but that's okay. It's just for me. So now I'm going to open it up. This will actually go faster because there are several pieces that I don't need to cover. Now, I am going to, when I put this together for the final time, I am going to glue it. Just because. So, I'm basically just going to do the same thing. I'm going to take I decided to use, I went through my box of like book page and copy dyed paper scraps and all these scraps, and I pulled out several that I thought I might use on this piece. I've got a bunch of scraps up here that I'm going to use. This is actually a piece of scrapbook paper, but it's it looks like copy dyed paper, or it looks like book page that's been copy dyed. So let's see. Now, let's see. I want to take this. I may just tear it right on this. Rather than marking it and tearing it, I think I will just put it on here and tear. It will be faster. And so this will be more like a little collage of like book page type papers. And I am not going to ink up the edges on this because the book pages all have different shades of book page, and there is inking where they meet up with the box. So, and I don't think the inside is for just me. Now, if I were selling this or sending it to somebody, I might do the inking just to keep the consistency. But since I'm making this for myself, and I don't necessarily care about the insides being inked, then I'm just not going to worry about it. So there's that. And then I've got some of this, which is a wedding registry. I guess I could put it this way. No, that's not what I'm going to do either. Let's do this. Let's take this down and then do you guys have dogs who are very vocal? I don't know if you heard that, but my dog just groaned as she laid down. She is so vocal in everything that she does. Okay, let's put this here and this here. And we'll just... Okay. And this one will go on sideways, but that's okay. That's Okay. Oh, I like this side because it's got a lot of writing in it. Handwriting. This was some wedding. It was a list of weddings in, what was it, 1800s? Or here's one, May 6th, 1822. And it was a list of all of the, oh, I put it on the wrong side. I wanted to get all that yummy pencil writing, and then I put the glue over it. Oh well. That's what I get for crafting and talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing. But anyway, it was back from the 1800s, and now I don't need to do this. All I need is these. Nope, that's not quite long enough. How about yep. This is really, really, really delicate paper, so it's good that I'm using it here because I don't think it would hold up anywhere else. Let's get it a little bit straighter down this edge. All right. Here and here. And here. And here. All right. So I got it a little bit off. I need to straighten up this part right here. I got it off whack. I think my ruler probably moved. There. All right, let's put that one there. And we are almost done. Okay, once again, it's going to take me a little bit to, go around and do this part and that. So I'm going to pause this again so you don't spend a ton of time watching me glue things down. And I'll be back in just a bit. All right, friends, here we go. This is the inside. And again, I have X's where I didn't need to cover. So I've covered the whole inside, and I used book page and music page and copy dyed paper and kept it a little more natural. Now, as I put this together, I want to glue down, and it doesn't have to be anything real heavy. I mean, I don't think this is gonna come off. So if you just want to put some art glitter glue, that's fine. But on all of these that are going to tuck in, I want to glue them because they shouldn't be coming out. And I want to make my box a little bit sturdy. So I'm going to, and actually, I'm going to also glue down this part too. I don't need to worry about this part because these little tabs are going to hook onto there. But we do want to, you like my scribbly glue? I'm just putting glue on these tabs because I don't want them to come up, and I don't, over time as I open and close it, I don't want oh man, I don't know what gives with this glue. I put the top on it, but it's still got a big old glob in there. All right. All right, so now I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to pull this up. Okay, I'm going to put those in, and I'm going to fold this over. And then we will clamp all of this together. And the same thing here. Okay, and then you've got this that comes down on the top. So this is what it looks on the inside when we open it up. Pretty cool, huh? Now, one other thing that I want to do, I want to take some washi tape and put over this edge and put over this edge, because these are the two edges that are going to get a lot of use with that. I'm just looking at my washi tapes up here. Those are the edges that are going to get a lot of use and a lot of banging, and I want to keep them nice. So let's see, I'm trying to find, there we go. And if you haven't seen this before, this is my washi tape storage, and I love it because I can see what's all here. They're not rolling all over my desk, and then I just hang them up, and I have several of them. All right, so do I want to put the butterflies or the flowers or the flowers or, ooh, that one's nice. Let's use this one. Got several here that would work. Oh, no, we really don't have any pink or red in here. Maybe I'll use the butterflies. Were y'all screaming at me, use the butterflies? Use the butterflies. All right, this is really long. I don't need it quite this long, but that's okay. Let's see which way looks. This looks more like the right way up. The butterflies go every which way, so I guess there's really technically no right side up, but more of them are facing up this way. Well, in fact, almost all of them are facing up this way. All right, so now I'm just going to put it and then fold it over here. That way we'll give this a nice strong edge for going in and out of the box. Okay. And it's got a little bit of a rounded corner to it, so I want to make that rounded. Okay. I'm going to take these off now. That's probably good. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Those little butterflies. So it's not staying down all the way, but that's okay. Once I'll get a we'll figure that out. Let's go back to the butterflies again. And I want to go across this edge right here because, again, we're going to be putting stuff in and out here, and I want to protect this edge. You could take another piece of book page or coffee dyed paper. You could use some masking tape. I need to cut this fairly close to where I need it. You could put anything over there to protect that. I'm just choosing to use some washi tape. Oh, I love the way this looks. I love this look on the inside. I probably should have used all of that paper. That's some coffee dyed paper that I made with some real heavy. Make sure that looks like it's about straight, and it is. I did pretty good getting that straight. A little bit high on this side, but it works. All right. So what is making it? Actually, you know what? I plan to put a like a knob, a little handle on this so I can lift it up. And when I put that handle on there, that'll make that stay down. All right. So there's the box. Now let's do a little bit of decorating. I usually put some lace on it. There it goes. I just have to bend it correctly so that it's not. There it goes. Make sure these are down all the way. Okay, so let's put some lace on it. Where do I want to put, like this one I put across the front here. Let's see, let's get out some scrap laces here. Ooh, this is pretty. That's not really lace. This is pretty wide. Although that is pretty. I could run that around both sides. It's a pale, pale blue color. Let me do this. I don't know why that's standing up there, but it's bugging me. Or no, let's put this one around and let's go around the three sides. Let's see what else I have in here. My little scrap bin. Nope. I really do like this one. All right, let's. And then I'll pause you in just a minute and I'll go find that handle and we'll put that on and that will hold that down. But let's start over here. Now I am just going to, first I'm going to find out which way is the front. They look about the same. Nope, I guess it's this one. All right, so let's put, I'm just going to use art glitter glue. But, oh, I didn't have my, just going to use art glitter glue on this because I think it will hold it. I'll just put a couple of dabs. Oops, you guys can't see me. I'm going across the top with art glitter glue and then a couple of dabs in the middle of the flowers. And then I'm going to put this part down and then we'll come back and glue some more. So you guys are probably thinking, well, why did you cover it with paper if you were going to go cover it with lace? Well, first of all, I didn't know for sure that I was going to put this lace on there. And second of all, it's, it's meant to be a background, which you don't always see. Okay. Let's put that to hold that there. And I like it when laces have a solid part at the top like that. And I'm just gluing random bits here and there down. I'm not. Yeah, this is going to have to go across pretty much the whole way, although this piece really ended up being the perfect length. So I guess it was meant to be. All right, let's take this. Across here like this. It's actually a bit long, but that's okay. We'll to go right about here. We can cut that off. I'd rather have too much than not enough. All right. Now, let's put that on there to clamp that. And I'm going to put you guys on hold for just a minute. And I'm going to go find my handles so I can put a handle on there to pull that top up. I'll be right back. All right, friends, last part of this video, we're going to finish it up. So, of course, the handles that I wanted were not where they were supposed to be. Par for the course, right? But I came up with something different. And it's not holding it down 100%, but I found this button, and I'm going to put a key on it, and I'm going to dangle a key here so you can grab the key and lift the top of the box. So what I did is I took this embroidery floss and I glued it in there with Fabri-Tac. Did y'all see that, or was I off camera? So I glued it in there with Fabri-Tac. I'm going to thread it through here. Let's see how far down. I want it to be right there. So I am going to glue down some more with Fabri-Tac. I'm going to glue this part of the, looks like our, I'm going to glue this down. I thought this was kind of a fun closure. I don't want anything that I have to, I want something that I can easily grab and open it. Because if I have to worry about unlatching something or, unwinding strings, I won't use it. And I know that I won't. So let's cut this off. We've got this now. And it's not holding it down 100%, but it is holding it. And it's just going to hang like this. And then I can pull this. Well, I don't have it glued down yet, but I can pull this and pull it up. So now I may need to come back in with hot glue. I just didn't want to get out my whole hot glue gun. If this doesn't hold with the Fabri-Tac, I'll just come in with hot glue and glue it down. All right, nice big glob of Fabri-Tac on there. And Let's get that about right in the middle. That is about right in the middle. Now, I don't think, let's see, as y'all can see from my many clippings, I like to put clips on things. Let's make sure that's where we want it. And clip it down. All right, that's done. Now, let's look at putting like a flower or something on here that might be kind of fun. I know there's some greenery. I know that I've got some like sunflowers that I thought might be pretty on here. I'm just not sure where they are. Those might be pretty. Let me go back up to the front. Those might be nice. But I thought that I had. There they are. All right, let's see. Oh, these are in a little cluster, so I could put. Now, the only problem with using a cluster, I mean, it looks pretty and it's not going to get in the way of anything. The only problem is if I want to stack up the boxes. They're not going to stack. So you have to think about that. You know, what do you want to do? I don't know if I need 4 of them. Do I like that? I don't know. Here's just a couple of plain ones. I do like the sunflowers. If I put those two and then like a bud in the middle, what do you guys think about that? And make like a little cluster of, I guess those aren't really sunflowers, they're more like daisies. But what do you guys think about that? And then we can put some greenery coming out of them. Let's put those on. I like them, and like I said, this is a box for me, so if I like it, then I guess that's all that really counts, right? All right, so we'll put that there. Okay. Put that one there. I need another clamp for those. Let me get the other one on and then I can kind of hold them on there. Let's cut this off. And then I've got some little flowers I can tuck in there. I can do more with this. And then I can put something like I did on the last one. I took some little Tim Holtz ephemera and put it down in the corner just to give it something sort of diametrically opposed. Let's see if that's good now. Still comes up a little, but I think over time it'll be fine. So there's our flowers. Just push those down a little bit. I like them. I like them a lot. But they do need to be pressed down until they stick. I don't know. Do we want a couple of little buttons? No. See, I don't have this thing in the middle on the other one. I've got some glue that came over. I'll get my glue eraser once it's dried up a bit, and I'll pull that off of there. All right. And I think once I use this box a bit, it'll stay down. So there we go. There is the box. Let's do one more thing here. Let's put a word on it, because I think it needs something up there on the top. Question. Remember, you never fail until you stop trying. I actually really like that up there. That's what I want to put on the top of that box, because it is so true. As long as you're trying, you're not failing. It's only when you stop, because then you'll never meet your goal and you'll fail. So let's take this and okay, there it is. My little dauber. I'm going to darken this up a little bit. And I don't want to overdo this box. I don't want to have to worry about it falling apart or being too fragile when I'm using it. Let me push down these flowers again. Just make sure they're setting up right. And I have to bring it towards me. I'll pull it back up once it's all. There we go. There's the box. You never fail until you stop trying. And there's that. And then with this, see, I can just lift that up and put it down. And like I said, I think over time, when it bends a little more, I think it'll stay down. I'll put something heavy on it to get it to stay down so it learns that. But there's this one. Here's the other one that I did. This one has flowers and some ephemera on it. This one's got a closure on it. I like that closure. And some flowers. I don't know what I'll put in this one, but there it is, a box with a window. All right, folks. Oh, I've got a mess on my desk here to clean up. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I didn't do every single step of the way on camera, but it was very repetitive putting on all those, bits of paper. So I didn't want to bore you to death. So I hope you enjoyed that. I like it. I like it a lot. And then I can see whatever's in there. I'll be able to see it. All right. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.